American Nightmare has arrived. The son of a dream looking to realize his destiny in WWE. Multiple tag team and intercontinental championship reigns during his first run here in WWE. But now that the prodigal son has returned, Cody Rhodes has reached main event status.
Konnichiwa, minasan. I'm Great Joker, United Empire. 今日は試合があった。そして彼がエンパイアのちょっと応援してくれるってよ。みんな、ブローキンテーブルポッドキャストよろしく。
I hear the battle cry under the devil's sky. The one-winged angel screams. It fuels my hopes and dreams. The best that I
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with my reigning, defending, Broken Predictions champion co-host, King Rome. How are you tonight, sir?
Still the champ. I miss Pepsi Phil. I'm still waiting. But, I mean, other than that, I'm all right.
Still waiting. Thank you guys for joining us here on the only fully interactive wrestling podcast on YouTube. What does that mean? That means that you can throw questions at us throughout the entire episode of our podcast here, and we will get answers to your questions as soon as we can. Welcome to everybody that's already here in chat. We got the Coog, we got Ed Weber. What's up, guys? How you guys doing here tonight? I thought this was a decent episode of Dynamite here tonight. I don't think anything disappointing went on here. I thought there were some really what's the word I'm looking for? There were really some positive moving forward in a lot of storylines here tonight. So I'm thought this was a very productive Dynamite, I think is the word I was looking for. Very productive.
Yeah, I think that's a great word to describe it. I think it was definitely productive. A lot of storylines moved forward, some of them, finally. And yeah, I don't think anything blew me away in terms of match-wise. But yeah, again, like, look, man, not every episode of Dynamite can be a home run. Like, you need these kinds of episodes to kind of calibrate things.
Yes.
But I don't think it was necessarily a bad episode. There are moments I may not be a fan of in this show, but I think just about everything has a purpose and everything makes sense and everything works, and I think it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that one. We came from Britsburg here tonight, AEW Dynamite in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this crowd was absolutely fantastic here tonight. They came absolutely ready to go. We started off with Jungle Boy. Over the last few days, Taz, on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, we absolutely love that guy. Him singing Jungle Boy's song is just one of my favorite things ever, man. I absolutely love Taz. He is a national treasure.
Yeah, Taz, yeah, AEW has really, I mean, obviously JR is awesome. JR is great, but they have really hit the mark here with this commentary team. Like Taz, Excalibur, Shivani, that's the team. That's it right there.
It is. It's really good.
So good.
So we start off with Jungle Boy coming down to the ring. Before he can get out one word, he is interrupted by Sammy Guevara. Same thing for Sammy Guevara. I think he said 2 or 3 words before he gets interrupted by Darby Allin. Darby Allin actually gets to speak first here for a little bit. He says Sammy's not a leader. Jericho is holding him back. That's why he's not the one to win the championship. And I thought this freaking promo battle between these pillars was amazing. Darby hit the nail on the head for Sammy. Like, exactly what he said about Sammy is exactly why, I'm saying he shouldn't be in the title picture at the moment. So I really hope this starts us on a storyline of Sammy separating himself from Jericho soon. I think that'll actually get Sammy back in the good graces of the people, especially if Jericho makes himself, that dastardly heel that everyone hates at the time, right?
I thought that this segment in general, I felt like it started off a little low energy, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more energy. But like as the segment goes on, I really love this segment for the dynamics it sets with the character development. So, kind of what you're talking about with Darby talking about Sammy. Darby says, Sammy, I've known you the longest, and out of all the pillars, oddly enough, I like you the most. Which is a weird dynamic because you would think that the baby faces like the baby faces the most and the heels like the heels the most. But that's not the case here. Darby says that he likes Sammy more than he likes Jack and more than he likes MJF. Darby says he doesn't view Sammy as championship material because he's a follower. Like you said, Jericho's holding him back. He goes to Jack Perry. He says, Jack, you've worked the least out of all the pillars, which is, again, a very surprising take from Darby, considering MJF, being one of the pillars. And he says the reason that you were signed is because you were part of the California clique. A little bit of a pepper there. We'll get into it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to explain that one to me because I'm not fully aware what he means by the California clique other than maybe the Elite.
Yeah, he was friends with the Elite. That's what Darby's talking about there.
Oh, okay.
California clique. An amazing name for the Elite, by the way, if you are anti-Elite. Like, I was like, wow, okay, that's awesome. Jack says that he wishes people could see the real Darby Allin because the Darby backstage is kind of, to put it bluntly, he's a dick. I mean, Jack goes into a little bit more detail, but and then Jack also says, Darby, this wasn't even your first choice. Like, out of all the pillars, like, everyone here wanted to be like the champion number one. You just couldn't cut it as a skater. Which I was like, oh, okay. We're playing with fire tonight. And then Jack goes to Sammy, and like Darby, Jack says, and Sammy, out of all the pillars, I respect you the most. You're still a piece of shit, but I respect you the most. I thought that this was a really great segment, and the night in general kind of has a theme here where leading into this week, we've talked about it where some people don't think Sammy is on the level of the other pillars. And I thought it was a really smart thing for them to do to have the rest of the pillars build Sammy up here tonight. Because at the end of the day, Sammy can go in the ring. And what Sammy brings to the table in terms of the pillars, can he talk like the others can? Not necessarily. He has his own style of talking, and some people may not like that style of talking. But this dude's crazy in the ring and can go. And that's what solidifies him as a pillar in the company.
I thought Sammy did the best on his promos tonight. I thought he was the best of the three.
I would agree with that as well. So Sammy says that Jack is just like MJF, which, like, again, at first you're like, what was he? But it's such a great point where it's like, Sammy's like, I wrestled on the pre-show of the first Double or Nothing. Darby wasn't even here yet, and who got to stand in the ring with Bret Hart? MJF and Jungle Boy. He's like, everything you've done, Jack, you've gotten the easy way in. You've gotten the free ride. And then Sammy once again says that, Darby, I respect you and I like you a hell of a lot more than I like Jack or MJF. He says that, we're two sides of the same coin, which I really love that as well. Sammy goes on to say that, he saw Darby break all these glass ceilings, and he used that to drive him to do better. Not to match Darby, but to surpass Darby. And yeah, this was just an excellent, excellent segment. I love these dynamics that we're seeing between these characters. You could very easily, as a booker and as characters, go the easy route of have it be like, well, Darby and Jack respect each other because they're the baby faces, and Sammy and MJF are going to respect each other because they're the heels. And like, that dynamic's not there. Like it's a lot more multi-level and multifaceted, and I love it. It's what I love about pro wrestling, and they're just killing it so hard here. I would knock some points again for the beginning, like the intensity. I feel like Darby could have started at. I think Darby started at like a 5. He should have started more at like a 7.
Yeah.
But like that's really my only critique for the entire segment, because also once it picked up and they started running with it, they just started running with it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was excellent. At which point MJF comes out, and MJF says that he talked to Tony Khan, his friend, and says that there will be a Pillars tournament. Basically, there will be a singles match tonight. One of the Pillars gets a bye. Next week, that person with the bye faces the winner of tonight's match, and then that person, the winner of that match, faces MJF at Double or Nothing. Max calls out a stagehand, reaches in. Darby Allin gets the bye. Max instantly groans. So we get Jack Perry versus Sammy Guevara tonight, and it is the final possible match, singles match that we could have amongst the Pillars that hasn't happened yet.
Okay, that's cool. So they haven't faced each other. They did mention that, so I didn't realize that was the last match between the Pillars we hadn't had yet. Nice.
Yeah, that was the last singles match. Yeah, look, I thought this was excellent. Again, if you wanted me to be nitpicky, Darby could have started a little bit higher, but like this was just, the future of AEW is so bright. Like here's the thing, right? Like I'm just gonna say it. If it's real and there is no way of mending the fence, AEW really could lose CM Punk and the Elite, and like obviously that's a massive blow. But like just looking at the future alone, it's like, man, there is some like, and that's a hot take. I know some people might not like me saying that, and I'm not saying I'd want to lose either of them. Obviously, the company.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like they're vital, but at the end of the day, like the company would go on because
it would hurt right now, but the future would be bright. Yes.
Yeah, the future that they're building here is just so strong that they like it's crazy. And this isn't even all of the future. This is just like the 4 guys that are like labeled as the future. We're not even talking about Ricky right now. We're not talking about Takeshita right now. We're not talking about, I could go on, but I'm not going.
Exactly, yeah.
But
my guy Ed in chat throwing out the match count for all 4 Pillars. We've got MJF with 57 matches. We've got Sammy Guevara with 101. Darby Allin with 114. And Jungle Boy Jack Perry with 147 matches, man. That's awesome.
And here's the thing, though, and that's where, also to that point, why the character development is just so strong here is because at the end of the day, Jack Perry is who Jack Perry is. He is the baby face. He is doing all these things. But as Sammy and Darby, they're always going to look at Jack with those asterisks, where it's like, yeah, this guy's wrestling all these matches, and that's why him and MJF are different. But at the end of the day, Sammy and Darby raised really good points about Jack. Jack was signed because he was friends with the Elite. Jack was handpicked in that first show. He's standing in the ring with Bret Hart. They raised good points, but at the same time, Jack is still Jack, and I just love it.
I absolutely loved the way they had MJF come out here and do this little miniature 4-man tournament for the championship. I freaking love it.
Yeah.
All right, next up we had the Outcasts versus Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. We got Tony Storm and Ruby Soho of the Outcasts in the ring with Saraya on the outside. Britt's family was ringside. Man, Britt Baker in Pittsburgh is just absolute money, man. Especially with the Outcasts messing with Britt's family before Britt came out. Everybody got the terrible towels all over the place in the arena.
Yeah, waving them pit rags around. Yeah.
And then, dude, only because of like the whole thing going on, this was my match of the night, man. Like, not because the match itself was incredible, but just overall, the storyline and everything that's going. This really progressed here, and I thought this was my match of the night, man, or my segment of the night, if you will.
Yeah,
Britt Baker comes out. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Britt Baker comes out to a massive DMD. The crowd is just huge into Britt. Like, I don't think you could get much more over in your hometown.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed. Should have said it last time, but this was a pretty good crowd. Obviously, Pittsburgh, good crowd. I liked the Pillars were all over too. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought this was a really good match. At this point of the show, I did have the same issue I had last week, where I was like, okay, it was a really good match. I feel like we could have capitalized off of being in Pittsburgh. We do later on, so
Yep.
I will say that. For the better. The way it works out is much better than what I would have done. So that's great. Um, but yeah, no, this was a really good match, solid match. I don't know if it's my match of the night. It's definitely up there. But yeah,
You know, I just think as a whole, like, you know, everything considered for tonight, you know, this was actually, you know what, I kind of forgot about what you're alluding to right now. So we'll get to that later. I think I'm gonna have to retract that statement there. But this was a great match. A
oh, wait,
big hot tag to Britt from Jamie Hayter. I mean, this crowd. Oh, go ahead.
So I do have to, for a moment, I reminded myself, Jeff. So it must be stated
What up, Coach?
for all of the friends, you know, hanging out with us here in the podcast, that you, Jeffrey Vegas, I'm once again pointing out your flip floppiness. So you've been extremely critical of Sammy Guevara in past weeks and months.
I was, yes.
As to the point of last week, you said that Sammy should not be in the title picture and should be as far away from the pillars as possible. So my question to you, sir, and this is available in the Discord. You can also DM me. I will gladly send this evidence. I have it screenshotted.
I posted a picture of some flip flops, so I'm not denying anything.
Yeah,
here.
no, I mean, so yeah, I mean, you said Sammy's killing it.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to point that out. I'm always going to keep you honest. It's one of my jobs here.
I'll keep it 100, man. I posted those flip flops for you.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we can move on.
But yeah, the Coug asks, did Jamie Hayter get hurt? I didn't see anything, and I have not heard anything. I really hope not. I didn't see anything like that, Coug. You know, scour the Twitter for me and let me know. I don't think so.
I didn't hear anything either.
No, yeah. But man, when Saraya grabbed that women's championship belt and she smacked Britt over the head with it, almost picks up the win. Britt kicks out at 2.999. Ooh, I thought they were taking it from Britt there in Pittsburgh. I thought we were gonna have Britt lose in Pittsburgh and get some massive boos and some heat on the Outcasts here, but nope. Britt kicks out. Huge DMD chants from the crowd was absolutely amazing. The DMD chants that we got right there. Man, my buttons. Where's my DMD at? There it is. And all of a sudden, we got, what did I write down here? The Panama Sunrise, but doesn't Britt call it the Pittsburgh Sunrise?
I believe she does.
Yeah, I wrote down Panama because that's what Excalibur said. I think he got caught up in the moment as well, but Britt hits a big Pittsburgh Sunrise to Ruby, who actually kicks out at 2.9. And then Ruby gets the curb stomp and kicks out of that as well. I thought we were going to finish there with that curb stomp. It really felt like that was the end, but nope. Ruby kicks out again, and Britt just locks on the lockjaw. The crowd goes wild, puts her hand in her mouth, and we get Ruby tapping out. I thought this was a great finish. I love when the hometown, guy or girl gets the win. I've hated it for so many years, watching the E just always losing in your hometown is just horrible. You know what I mean? I love seeing the win in the hometown. So I love this. I thought this was great from beginning to end. Excellent match here.
Yeah, I agree. It was really good.
Yep. And I think keeping Saraya out of this actual match, like not making it a trios, was the best idea here. Just having her on the side, causing the distraction and stuff was the better way to go.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I thought Saraya did a really great job working with Britt's mom, grabbed her at one point, cursed her out. Yeah, I thought this was great, and you're correct. I think it was smart to keep Saraya out of the match, especially with what came later.
Exactly. All right, next up we had Renee Paquette backstage with Wardlow, and Wardlow was saying, while facing against Powerhouse Hobbs here, he needed a little bit of backup. And the last person that I had expected to be considered backup, Arn Anderson shows up to help out Wardlow here. Now, I was slightly confused because, like, when you say backup, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like somebody that you're going to have, like, physically help you out and, you know, help you out against QT Marshall and stuff like that, which obviously, you know, he did. We'll get to that a little bit later. But, you know, I was thinking more of, like, a current on the roster type, you know, person. What would you think of this being Arn Anderson here?
Devil's advocate. When they brought Arn out, I was like, oh shit, is Arn gonna fucking shoot QT Marshall with his Glock? Because, like, here's the thing, they bring in Arn Anderson, and Arn's like, so he broke into your car, he took your bags, he did all this, and I'm like, is Arn about to tell Wardlow to just commit murder? Like,
Right?
is that where we're going with this? And then they don't go that way, which is like, whatever, it's fine. But I was like chuckling to myself as this was going on. Like, are they building up to Arn? Which they do. Arn does the gesture later in the ring, but I was like, is Arn gonna just advise Wardlow to start carrying? Like,
Right.
is that where we're going with this?
Now, Arn does make some mention here of, like, you know, what is your plan, Wardlow? Are you looking to, you know, recreate something like the Four Horsemen? Do you think we're going to get some sort of Wardlow faction coming here with Arn?
I think there's a real possibility, actually.
Yeah.
I could see it being like Wardlow, Brock Anderson, Brian Pillman, and
Okay.
a fourth guy. I don't know who I would pick for the fourth guy. There's
I
probably
actually really like that.
But I mean, yeah, I think that, look, man, AEW, and we've talked about it, and it's really great. And apparently the Fed actually kind of started stealing it this past week. But gang warfare is the way to go. Like, AEW is awesome. It has all these factions that are always feuding, and it really helps keep the storylines fresh, and it keeps things exciting, and it keeps people on TV instead of doing the same match every week just to keep a storyline going. So yeah, no, I thought it was great. I think it's great for them to do the Horseman thing. I think it would make a lot of sense. I'd be cool with it.
Yeah, I really like the Brian Pillman name you threw in there. I wasn't thinking about that at all. Man, who do you think the fourth guy could be? So we got Wardlow, Pillman, you know, obviously
You know what?
Anderson.
Cole Carter.
Oh, okay.
There was, I believe, Cole and Arn had like a little thing on Dark like a few months ago.
Yeah. Tell you what, I wouldn't put money against that of you being right. That's actually One day the Four Pillars faction will be a thing from Ed. Oh shit. That would be nuts, dude.
Can you imagine where it's like there is such a threat to AEW that, like, it's like we got to team up. Like, that's an Avengers moment right there.
And it's the three that, you know, so Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sammy all have to convince MJF to stop being a douche and actually team up with them. That'd be a great story going into it. Oh my god.
Oh, it would be really cool if so. I think when CM Punk comes back, I have theories about how they're going to do it, and I have things I'm going to say later in the show about it. But what if CM Punk's last match, or like the ending of CM Punk's career, is like he's like the big heel guy trying to close AEW down or shut AEW down. He's like, I'm going out, I'm taking everybody with me. And that's where you get the Four Pillars need to step in and be like, no, CM Punk, we're going to put you down. And
Oh
like,
shit.
fuck, man. Oh my God.
Dude, Ed, you just, oh man. We might have to make like a whole episode on something like that, you know.
I've seen it. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, wow. Ed says MJF will one day be the greatest babyface in the industry. The best heels always are when finally make their first turn. Oh yeah, man. I can't wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be MJF in Long Island everywhere, you know what I mean? It's going to be awesome. All right, next up we had the Elite promo on the Blackpool Combat Club. They came out to the ring, and essentially, they call out the Blackpool Combat Club right away. They're like, "Listen, we're done talking. Let's go." And Bryan Danielson appears on the big screen. He starts cutting a promo on them, and the Blackpool Combat Club attack from behind. So the Danielson up on the video screen was a ruse to gain their attention. Blackpool Combat Club kicks the shit out of the Elite. But they did fight back for a little bit here. But man, Wheeler Yuta attacking Matt's arm had me cringing and like looking away from the TV, man. Like when a guy's got a legit injury like that and you see somebody actually going after it in storyline, I don't know, man. It just looks too real for me,
So, first of all, I like how you just completely overlooked the fact that Kenny Omega said he wants to murder Jon Moxley.
Okay. I actually didn't catch that. How did he say that?
Kenny basically said that he wishes that he did not miss with the screwdriver.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, I just envision,
yeah, I said he tried to, that was attempted murder. So,
No, I know, but he touched on it again this week where he,
Nice.
not only did he attempt murder last week, he expressed sorrow that he did not succeed in murder this week.
Expressed sorrow that he was unable to complete his mission.
Right. Like you said, the Elite challenged the Blackpool Combat Club. Danielson causes a distraction. Blackpool Combat Club attacks. Now, here's the thing, Jeff. Here's the thing, right? This segment instilled me with one of the biggest feelings of hope I've ever felt in my entire life. So, Kenny, while talking about his remorse for failing to kill Jon Moxley the previous week, unaliving Jon Moxley the previous week, he said something. He called out the Blackpool Combat Club. And he said, "Let's squash the beef once and for all." And Kenny's saying that for a reason. I think we all know what the reason is. And I think that Kenny wouldn't say it unless things were cool. Like, I really just don't think that's the case. Because here's the thing. We're talking about, why is nobody reporting Kenny to AEW security? You can't say you want to kill a coworker. That's funny, Ed. So that line, him saying that, everyone's talking about, this Saturday show, it's going to be the Pepsi Phil show, CM Punk show, 2 hours with FTR Bald, FTR Cash, and all of CM Punk's friends, right? And here's my thing. I think, Sabak's here. Hey, Sabak, what's up, man? I think that we're going to be getting this giant civil war. I think that there is a lot of, if you look at AEW, like in the year 2023, really since Brawl Out, what you've seen is a lot of, you've seen a lot of storylines where it's like people that want AEW to succeed and want to nourish it and take care of it. Like, they're here because they love AEW. And then you have the other side where it's like they're in AEW and they like AEW, or maybe they don't like AEW, but they're not here because they're like believers in the grassroots AEW movement. Whether it be the Outcasts and them being like the WWE girls, or the JAS who are sports entertainers, or if Punk comes back, I do think he's going to come back as a gaslighting heel. Like, all of these things coming together, and they're talking about having like a Saturday show be the CM Punk show, and like the Wednesday show will be like the Elite show. All I'm going to say is watch them do that. Let them go for like a month or two, and then wait to see that reaction when one of them shows up on the other show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, man, I think that we are far enough along where things are smoothed over and they're coming back. Now, could it be wrong? Sure, I'm not in the room. I don't know. But I'm using my common sense and my logic and my brain, and I'm looking at the situation, and I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that Kenny says this line, which is clearly, because that's all people have been saying online, for months now. Let them squash the beef. Get them in a room, squash the beef. Fuck, we've been saying that
Yeah.
week in and week out. You mean to tell me that, like, because also, if you look at it from, like, the aspect of the promo itself, Kenny's line doesn't make a lot of sense there because he literally just said he wants to murder John Moxley. And then now his way of calling out the Elite is to say, let's squash the beef, boys. Like, what? No, you just wanted to murder John Moxley. They're not going to come out and squash the beef. So, yeah. And I think that is, it's all leading up to something. And I said something to Ed earlier in the Discord where I really do think that AEW knows that its hardcore fan base will look at everything they're doing, especially when it comes to these major storylines, whether it be the Elite or CM Punk or whatever it is, the Pillars. There is so they know that their fans look through things and are very, very, very just with a fine-tooth comb looking for things. So yeah, I do think that they go for very minuscule, very, very stretch of a reference. I think they do that. I think they know, and you know what? Most of these things get pointed out. You know what I mean? We've seen it all the time. AEW, number one, the wrestlers respond regularly to these AEW Twitter fans that are pointing out these things. It just go follow them. Go follow Drain Bamager or AEW Out of Context or whoever you want to follow. Most of these AEW fans who point out these things, the wrestlers respond to them. Tony Khan responds to Tranquilo Club. You know what I mean? Come on. These guys, they know what the discourse is, and they wouldn't keep doing these things for no reason.
Yep. Now, Don Callis does come out to try to help. He comes out with a chair. But about halfway down the ramp, Don Callis definitely thinks twice. He stops in his tracks. He drops the chair because, the Elite were getting their asses kicked. Don Callis with a chair ain't doing nothing to the three of those guys. He drops the chair and he runs off, and you kind of think he just thought better of it and he's getting out of there. But all of a sudden, Don Callis shows back up with Takeshita. And dude, I did not expect this for one freaking second for Don to show up with Takeshita, but I absolutely freaking loved it. And the moment that I saw Takeshita show up, dude, I lost my mind. And I was like, is he actually going to help Don and go save the Elite here? And sure enough, Takeshita makes his way to the ring and clears out the ring. And he makes the save for the Elite.
Well, why were you surprised?
What's that?
Why were you surprised?
Only because I didn't think that he was actually with Don Callis yet. You know what I mean? I felt like Callis kind of dragged him out there and he was kind of like, why are you bringing me out here? I wasn't super super you know what I mean? It's for a second, I just kind of put an eyebrow up, you know what I mean? But yeah, this was great, man. I absolutely loved this, from beginning to end. I loved this whole thing. Loved it.
I wouldn't say I was surprised by it. I think that they've been building to this. Obviously, Don was poaching. So again, just layers of great storytelling. Don knows that Kenny's getting older, that Kenny's winding down. Don wants to be, the puppeteer. And so he sees Takeshita as his next guy.
Yeah.
And I do think that there is also a point of worth noting that Danielson and Takeshita were pretty close during the MJF feud. I just want to let that be pointed out. Do with that what you will. But I think that, I think that this was it's really great because obviously we're still waiting for Hangman. That's the match. Not to mention you have Kota Ibushi, who's kind of out there in the atmosphere. You never know what's going to happen with that. I think what's going to happen, and it's just prediction, but I think Don and Takeshita are going to turn on the Elite.
Well, yeah.
And I think not only do I think they're going to turn on the Elite, they're going to align with the Blackpool Combat Club. leading to the numbers being, obviously 5-3, in which case you bring in Kota Ibushi, you bring in Hangman, and then there you go. That's the Elite. And Ed says it happens at Blood and Guts. It could be a Blood and Guts match. But I still think that they're going the route of the women's Blood and Guts match. I still think that that's what they want to do. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. Maybe they do 2 Blood and Guts matches. I don't know. Maybe they maximize the gimmick, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay if they do one of each.
They should.
Well, what would be a good idea would be for them to do one on Dynamite and then one either on the Saturday show or on Rampage. But make sure that show's live. That's what I would do. I would have it be like Blood and Guts week, where it's like the whole week you do it.
That'd be crazy. Kota is the final boss. All right. Next up, we had the TNT Championship. Wardlow with Arn Anderson versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs and QTV. Man, the crowd was heavily behind Wardlow in this one. This was technically a hometown crowd for Wardlow as well, right?
Yeah, he's from Ohio, I think.
It's not too far, I guess.
But it is Ohio.
Yeah.
It's a cesspool. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they kind of consider it a hometown for Wardlow, but I'm sure someone could let us know in chat there.
They're not far apart, but also...
Yeah, but that's crazy. I'm a Steelers fan.
And that Wardlow got started in Pittsburgh. Like, that was where he got started in the wrestling business, so I get it.
He's from Cleveland, so no? Oh, yeah, no way. That's even worse.
Man, I don't know the geography of Ohio. It's one.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. Like,
it's one giant field with a couple of skyscrapers in Cleveland. Like, I don't.
Oh, that's funny. So this was a great match. Just some big meaty men slapping big meaty man meat. You know what I mean? Harley was out there casting her distraction. She did it very well. Wardlow was very distracted. So was I. Allowed QT to come in and hit a diamond cutter. Arn Anderson comes in, pulls out his gun on QT Marshall. The crowd absolutely lost their mind when Arn Anderson pulled out his gun, man. Like, that was hilarious. It's taking everything I have to not pull out my gun right now. I'm just letting you know. This was great. I love Arn Anderson, man. I'm glad he is back on my TV, and somebody in Discord mentioned, like, don't show Cody. Did they show Cody here? I must have blinked and missed it.
That was me. They said it when they showed when QT attacked Arn.
Okay, I remember that.
Oh, so real quick tangent, right? So I went to I was going to talk about towards the end of the show, but there was a really funny moment, right? I went to the New Japan Collision in Philadelphia show this past Sunday. I was ringside. If you watched the show, I'm all over the hard cam. I had a fucking blast, man. What a great show.
I didn't know that was a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Being back in the ECW arena for the first time. For me, it's been like a decade just because I just haven't gotten around to getting back there. So getting back to the arena was great. New Japan was great. Got to see Orange Cassidy live. Now here's something that was excellent. So they do the setup for the IWGP US Champion #1 Contenders Tournament, right? Which ends up being Lance Archer versus Fred Rosser in a street fight in the ECW arena, which I can't express how fucking grateful I am that I got to see that kind of match in that building in 2023. I appreciate the hell out of Fred and Lance for that.
That's really funny. Sorry to interrupt you. I saw Fred Rosser when I was at the same arena last time I went as well, and he was incredible live.
Yeah. No, it was great. But again, especially as a street fight, it meant so much to me. For obvious reasons to the ECW connection.
Yeah.
Now, so before they get to this match, they show the Kenny promo that Kenny cut on the guys in the tournament. Now, I don't know. I'm sure it showed on like the pay-per-view feed at home, but they showed like a bunch of the US champions, and it showed like Ospreay, Omega. Like, it didn't show Omega. He showed him last because he was the one that started talking. But it's like showing all the champions, and they're getting like cheers. Cody's face came up, and I fucking
Ooh.
the shit out of Cody, and like so did everyone else. And I was like, "This is great. I got to boo Cody. This is great. It's so good." Anyways, you brought that up, so I wanted to. Yeah, Cook is right. Sunday night was nuts for wrestling pay-per-views.
Yeah, absolutely. So after Arn pulls out his gun, QT runs away. He was scared to death, which was one of my favorite parts of this. QT looked like Arn actually pulled out a real gun. It was hilarious. So as he's running away and going up the ramp, Penta El Cerro, he shows up, and I'm a little confused here. Maybe you can tell me, why did Penta show up here? What was Penta? How is he involved?
Well, Hobbs and QTV have kind of been like soft feuding with the Lucha Bros. Hobbs beat Ray.
That's right.
And then Hobbs beat Penta. And then QTV, they did a segment about Abrahantes, if I recall correctly.
Okay, I remember that. Okay, that's correct. All right, so perfect. So Penta shows up and he super kicks QT Marshall, sending him back into the ring. This causes Arn Anderson to hit him with a DDT, right? That's what he hit him with?
Yep.
Arn Anderson hits him with a big old DDT. Wardlow hits hits Hobbs with 3 power bombs to finish this off and pulls out a clean victory. I saw some in our Discord were a little upset here that Powerhouse Hobbs lost in a clean victory here. I didn't have so much of a problem with it. I feel like, just like you said, it's the TV title. I think it's supposed to change hands more often. I see the sunglasses coming out. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Look, obviously, I love everyone that, hangs out with us here and hangs out on the Discord. If you're not, you should hang out on the Discord with us. But this happens every single goddamn time. It's the TV title. It is what it is. It is what it has always been. This has always, since day one, been a title that has been hot-shotted around. The reigns do not last. It is the purpose of the belt to be something on a weekly basis that is, or at least a semi-weekly basis, that is defended. And the only time it wasn't defended was when they just didn't have Wardlow defended for like a month or two, which was kind of weird. Which
I definitely don't want it to be on a weekly basis.
What?
Definitely don't want it changing hands every week, but every couple of weeks, every 3, 4, 5 weeks, exactly. That's fine. Yeah.
That's the point. The point is that if you're looking for, and Nat said it, if you're looking for like an intercontinental type title, that's what the international title is. Look at Orange Cassidy's title reign. This guy has defended the title more times than any champion of any title in AEW history. Like, that's crazy. And he's had excellent matches. It's the workhorse title. And that's what Orange Cassidy is. He's the ultimate workhorse, man. Which is why he's world champion material. But my point is that if you're looking for that kind of title, they have that in the International Championship. That's why they rebranded it. That's why they've kind of tweaked it. So, because it's international. You can defend it anywhere. But yeah, I think to get upset about the TV title being hot-shotted around, that's just what it is, man. That's what it's always been. Cody lost the belt to Brody Lee like a couple weeks into winning it. And like, remember, then Brody Lee like smashed the belt, and then he brought out the black belt, which was really cool. And then like Cody won it back like their next match, which was Brody's last match. Rest in peace to Brody. And then Cody lost it to Darby like 3 or 4 weeks later. And then like guys, like go back and look at the history of this title. That is what it is. It is a title that is supposed to be relevant on the TV show and defended semi-regularly. Yeah. And that's what it is. Like,
the only reign I can remember that was really a significant reign was Darby's first run.
But even that didn't last super long because Amiro
didn't. But
like it doesn't last, and you could be disappointed by the title, I guess, sure. But at that point, you need to set your expectations at this point. It's not like this belt was one thing and then they changed it to another thing. No, like that's what a TV
My-
title is. It's what it is.
My glass half full on this one would be that the crowd was actually super behind Wardlow. So it really felt like he had not lost any momentum here, you know what I mean, in this, in the match here. And I feel like this is a great chance to push that Wardlow, get him back to where he was before, whatever all that was.
I think that
Before
as far as
MJF.
winning, as far as it being a TV title, I absolutely think that Wardlow winning tonight's the right call. Look, Hobbs is awesome, and this doesn't mean Hobbs is done. He's gonna go do something else. I don't know what that is right now, but he's gonna do something else. Like it's a TV title, man. Like I don't know. Like it is what it is. Like
It is what it is. I like what Ed said. It takes time for the perception to shift, so some people are going to be upset at the moment, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but my point is the belt's always been that. How much more time do you need before you perceive it to be what it is?
Yeah.
That's my only point.
Well, he was saying that it did kind of have the perception before that it was kind of like the Intercontinental, but now that they've introduced that Intercontinental, it's kind of shifting. So, I see both sides.
Khan said, like, it's not like that. Like, I remember back when the title first started, people were like, oh, so it's like the Intercontinental? He's like, no, it's not that.
There we go, Ed. He's got the numbers all the time, man. Darby, 186 days. Miro, 140. Wardlow, 136. Cody, 86. It does look like all the numbers are definitely going down since the old days there. And yeah, is Darby's first run the longest run they had? Because that was, in my head, that's the longest I could think of.
Was Darby's really 186 days?
Yeah, it was at least, I thought he had like 9 defenses back in the day. I can't remember what it was, but...
I mean, I would also, devil's advocate, argue that the other titles get held on to much longer than any of these title reigns.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the other belts don't drop for, like, months at a time. But, I mean, yeah, if that's the numbers, then I'm willing to admit that I don't remember it correctly completely, but...
But, it does look from those numbers, they are lowering it, and it looks like it's going downhill. So they are they're making it, they're shifting the perception themselves, is what I would say.
I also argue that you're pointing out those titles, but what about the original reign of Cody and then Brody and then Cody again, before Darby won it? Like, you're pointing out these middle few reigns, but I would also like to get numbers on those if you don't mind.
What are the longest, Ed? See if you can throw out the longest. I think Darby's might actually be the longest.
I think Darby or Wardlow would probably be the longest.
Yeah. But after this is over here, Wardlow is our new TNT champion after 3 power bombs. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus show up, essentially, doing the whole, stepping on the ramp and making the challenge. So it looks like Luchasaurus might be starting a new feud here with Wardlow. What'd you think of Luchasaurus coming out here? I love the new look with the extra stuff on his arm and the red mask with the horns. It looks good.
Yeah, I think this is a good direction for Christian and Luchasaurus. It gives, I think it's gonna be great. I think Ed said it in the Discord, but
yeah, those were the longest.
Somebody did, but like, let the TNT title let it just be these big hosses going at it. I'm okay with that.
Brody 55, Cody's second reign 35. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little bit more in line with what I was remembering.
Yeah. So
Brody 86, Brody 55, Cody 35.
So they adjusted your perception of it. Aha.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we had Renee Paquette backstage with Sammy Guevara. MJF interrupts and essentially makes a weird offer to Sammy Guevara here, saying, I'll let you main event Double or Nothing if you lay down. What did he mean here? Did I just kind of, I don't know if I misunderstood what was going on here. What exactly did he say?
So he said, he shows up. Sammy's like, what the hell do you want, Max? And Max, harsh.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I've always kind of liked you.
He was like, we're not friends. What do you want?
So MJF offers Sammy Guevara the opportunity. Because again, Sammy talks about how, he's never main evented a pay-per-view. He wasn't even on the last pay-per-view card. Sabak says Luchasaurus looked badass. He did look badass.
Yeah, he did.
But so MJF says, hey, if you want to get there, I'll get you there. We can work together on this. And all you got to do is lay down. And now what that implies is, I'll get you to Double or Nothing, so that way you can get to say that you main evented an AEW pay-per-view. So you can get that pay-per-view main event purse. But you got to lay down and let me pin you. That's what he's saying. He's saying, I'll get you there, but you're going to do the job for me. Like, you're going to lay down and finger poke of doom here. That's what he's saying.
Gotcha.
So at first, Sammy's like, no. He's like, I'm going to win it all. And then MJF offers him a blank check. He gives, Sammy takes the check, fills it out. MJF said, like, while Sammy's writing the zeros, MJF says, I know that we're friends, so I know you're not going to, like, take advantage of me or anything. You know, you're just going to take what you need. And then MJF sees it, and it's an absorbent amount. And MJF decides that it's worth it for him, and, you know, they shake on it. They go to shake on it. Sammy says, Max, friends don't shake hands. Friends hug. And they hug it out. I love this. This was such a great segment, and it had me cracking up because while there is the character development going on with all the dynamics, Sammy is absolutely working Max here. Like, and I love it. Again, this was, like, looking back on this episode, obviously I loved, like, the whole Elite storyline and everything, but, like, my biggest takeaway from this episode is I really just felt like they went out of their way to, like, this was Sammy's episode. For me, because obviously he's part of that opening program with everybody where everyone's putting him over, and then you get to this where it's like Sammy is being smart, Max is not being smart. You think that, well, like, yeah, sure, Sammy wants to get to the main event, but Max doesn't understand that Sammy doesn't just want to get to the main event, he wants to win the title. So Max doesn't get it at all. Sammy's working Max completely here. And he's going to use it to his advantage because he's a heel. So it's like it works perfectly, in my opinion. It makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
So this is great. I loved it.
MJF hands him a freaking blank check and lets him write a number on his back. When he turns around, he's like, "Oh my god!" at the number. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was.
All right, next up we had Commander versus Jay White in his first AEW match since becoming All Elite. Man, I absolutely loved this match. I love me some Jay White. Commander is incredible, and this dude looks young as hell. I'm sure the Coog can let me know how old Commander is. This guy's got an awesome future ahead of him, just like Vikingo and all these other guys, man. But I love how we got to see Sean Spears here on ringside watching. I was really, really hoping that we were going to be trying to lead to Sean Spears joining this Bullet Club Gold, but that is not where we headed. Jay White does pick up the win here with an awesome Blade Runner after a great match, picks up the 1-2-3, and immediately after the match, Juice Robinson starts attacking Sean Spears, who I was hoping was going to join them. So obviously that's not happening here, or at least yet. You know what I mean?
Why did you think you were going to join them? He kept giving them 4s and 5s.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know what it was. I just really thought he would fit that group. You know,
I disagree. I think that I think the way they went was better than that.
Yeah, so I would like to see him feud. Yeah, I was. Like you said, it wasn't the way that I would have gone, but I think this was better. I actually did like this. So Sean Spears is getting beat down by Juice Robinson and Jay White, and Ricky Starks comes down for the save. And man, Ricky Starks standing next to Sean Spears, like you just said, this was way better than what I was thinking. I think this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see. There's got to be a tag team match going on here. I can't wait for that. That's going to be great.
Yeah, Savak says this was a banger. Jay White was a great base for Commander. Yeah, this was awesome. This was excellent match. Really had a great time with it.
Commander's only 24. My God.
Yep, Commander is All Elite. He was announced by Tony Khan after the match that he has signed with AEW. So he is.
Yo, let's go. Yo, Coog, we need to come up with the lucha pillars of AEW. Obviously, Phoenix and Penta will be in there. I want to see Coog. Who's your vote for the other two? Those got to be they already got to be in. The Lucha Brothers. Who would be your vote for the other two?
Serpentico.
Serpentico be one. Oh yeah.
But I mean, Snake Man's been there, but I don't know. Yeah, no, this is a great match. Ricky comes out, hits a hell of a spear. I love Juice is laying on the ramp, and he's like, Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky. Dude, the other day I heard someone say that Juice's face and voice sound like a cartoon. And now I can't unsee it and hear it when I see him. I'm just like, he does. He looks like a cartoon.
He's a very animated individual, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. All right, excellent segment there. Great job on by Jay White in his first match being all elite. Next up, we had Renee Paquette backstage with FTR. And this was a little interesting here. I've never seen him do this. They were kind of like, FTR, we were supposed to talk to you here, but instead, watch this video. And they had a TV set up, and they showed Mark Briscoe getting beat up. And immediately the FTR go running off to the medical room. And we see Mark Briscoe in the medical room with Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh. And there's just a whole bunch of yelling and screaming going on. And finally, Mark Briscoe is like, blah, 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 blah. I was laughing so hard at this segment. I thought this was hilarious. And he tries to set up a 8-man tag where Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and FTR have to team up because Mark Briscoe was basically not cleared and he's injured now. This is storyline only. I don't think he has any sort of an injury or anything like that. I thought this was hilarious, dude. What about you?
All right, so here's the thing, right? Tinfoil hat time. Putting it on and doing it. And Ed's going to laugh, but it's fine. I don't care. I'm going to say it. It's probably not true, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's my show. I can do whatever I want on this show, as can you. Hence why you flip-flop so much. So, FTR, right? They do this segment, and it was shot really weird because instead of they shot the footage of Mark getting jumped by the Trustbusters and the Varsity Athletes or whatever. They show the footage to FTR instead of showing it on the show and then later having everyone meet in the trainer's room, right?
Yeah.
Instead, they have FTR watch it on a screen real quick. Like, FTR, we're going to talk to you, but look at this instead. And they all turn and look at it like, oh my God, what the hell? And then they sprint to the medical trainer's room. And Jeff, what do they happen to pass? What do they happen to pass, Jeff? What do you think? These gentlemen, FTR Bald, and FTR Cash, what do you think they run past?
I must have missed it, but it's got to be a reference to CM Punk.
I have DM'd you the image. Please pull it up for our wonderful viewers, if you will. Relevant GIF in the Discord. Yeah, it's probably like.
Oh shit!
Put it up, Jeff. Do it. You mean to tell me that these guys weren't just like, oh, hey, look, it's a Pepsi machine. Oh, what if we run by the Pepsi machine?
Oh, man. They knew what they were doing right there for sure.
Oh, please. Enough with the nonsense from the Ohioans, okay? Look, man, I've had it. I've had it with people from Ohio. I've had it from people from New Jersey, okay? The bad takes have to stop. You mean to tell me these guys, which Dax, by the way, ended his podcast today. Which that just makes me even go down the rabbit hole even more. Did Dax start a podcast just to work the internet? And it's
pretty much.
He started this podcast. He talked about CM Punk for 90% of the podcast. Well, that's not true. 60% of the podcast was talking about CM Punk. 40% of the podcast was him talking about possibly signing with the Fed. Both of them were works, right? It's he started. It could have been a Coke machine, says the Coog. Oh man!
Come on, guys! Look how prominent that Pepsi machine is.
Yeah,
displayed
look,
here.
Man, again, would I bet money on it if you were Rome? All right, bet money that this is intentional. No, I'm not gonna bet money on it. But come on, they just happen to be all right, let's run by a Pepsi machine. Like, they know the internet. They know what Twitter does, and they know that wrestling fans are doing this. Go follow Tiger Style Pro, who gets a lot of traction. This guy is constantly making Pepsi jokes.
I mean, Tiger Style Pro is Lee Moriarty, isn't it?
It's complicated. Tiger Style is Lee Moriarty, but there's also Tiger Style Pro, who makes really great wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Most of the if you ever see me post like those mashup videos, like music videos or like wrestling hype videos, it's usually Tiger Style. The whole "fuck the Fed" clips, like with the Knicks fans, that's Tiger Style.
Gotcha.
One of my favorite all time video clips. I use that more than almost anything I use in my life. I'm just saying, man. Like, it was a really weird shot segment. It was really weird. Like, why did they do it the way they did it if there wasn't some sort of silly reason?
Oh, Ed, don't get him wrong. He's still sick of FTR bald.
I was not happy with FTR bald working me. All right, I was very annoyed. I still am not the biggest fan of the, or we're gonna go to the Fed thing.
Listen, there's a good chance that the podcast was for money, and now that they signed a 4-year deal, they're like, we don't need money no more. Fuck the podcast.
No, I do think we got worked. I think FTR signed a while back. I don't think that they
possible.
The way that they were talking about it once they had signed, I was like, okay.
Yes, Coog, Cash's FTR hair. Yes.
Yeah,
Detective Coog.
Yeah, right. I was annoyed by it, and I still stand by that. It was very annoying to me to hear them talk about it, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't worked. You know what I mean? That means I was worked. Great.
I'm the biggest FTR mark on the planet right now, and even I was getting fed up with some of the Dax stuff. I was like, dude, it's getting hard to defend you, sir.
He was out there like, man, triple Paul, it's not just the big nose he has. I'm like, what the fuck, Dax? He didn't actually say that. That's misinformation. I don't like to spread misinformation. He didn't actually say that. But it was basically that. It came off like that. He was like, all right, man. Yeah. I get it. You really like Paul Levesque. That makes one of us. Oh.
Yeah. All right, so we should be getting some sort of 8-man tag. Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and FTR. Can they coexist? We'll find out.
I can't wait for Jeff Jarrett to hit Dax with a guitar. It's going to be fucking great.
Oh, hope he bleeds. Dax always bleeds.
Man,
all right. Next up, we had Chris Jericho and Adam Cole in the ring for their first meeting in the ring. Adam Cole had his family ringside. I love how Shivani said he's beaten Adam Cole enough times in video games that they've squashed their beef now. That was great. Did you catch that?
I did, yes.
He's like, I've beaten him enough in video games. He's good. It was awesome. So Adam Cole says, he's got a little bit of respect for Jericho, but Jericho says he has absolutely zero respect for Adam Cole. They wind up getting into a brawl. Britt shows up to stop Garcia because Garcia comes out to assist with the brawl. Britt comes out to stop Jericho and absolutely slaps the taste out of Jericho's mouth. But behind Britt, the outcasts wind up showing up. They surround Britt. And Adam Cole gets shackled to the ropes with some handcuffs in the weirdest way that I've ever seen, by the way, but it was fine. They used the same cuff to get his hand and the ropes while there was another cuff hanging off of it, but it was fine the way they did that. It was no big deal. And the Outcasts absolutely annihilate Britt Baker with a kendo stick while Adam Cole watches helplessly. I love these types of segments where somebody's got to watch helplessly while their tag partner or, whoever gets beaten down. I thought they did this perfect. This was tremendous. I love it.
Jeff, breaking news.
Breaking news.
Well, it is breaking news. It's not super AEW related, but it is wrestling related. Okay, so we now have the entire episode list for season 4 of Dark Side of the Ring. There will be 8 episodes. The episodes will be about the following. Episode 1, Abdullah the Butcher. Episode 2 will be about Mike Awesome. Episode 3 will be about Bam Bam Bigelow. Episode 4 will be about Chris Candido and Tammy Sitch. Episode 5 will be about Marty Jannetty. Not Shawn Michaels, but Marty Jannetty. That's disappointing. Episode 6 will be about Magnum TA. Episode 7, The Sandman. And episode 8 will be about Adrian Adonis.
Okay. I think for me, the Bam Bam Bigelow would be the only one that I'm interested in seeing. I loved him as a kid.
For me, I would say Sandman, Mike Awesome. Out of morbid curiosity, the Marty Jannetty one. Like,
Okay.
again, I think they really should be covering Shawn, not Marty. But I mean, I get that.
So I have a question for you then. So you're a Sandman fan, obviously. He's a Philly guy and stuff, right?
ECW. I mean, yeah. I think that Sandman and Tommy Dreamer's feuds, and how he mixes in with Raven, and just there's some really awesome shit that happened in ECW between Sandman and Raven. Where they had Sandman's son do the Raven thing, and like
Okay.
it's really cool shit. I don't know if you know about it, but it's really good. It's really
No, that's the reason I'm bringing this up. So I don't want to get any hopes up or anything, but one of the gentlemen that works for us at Curly's, he is actually friends with Sandman. He's like actually shown me pictures and, his phone number and everything on his phone. It's kind of funny. And he was saying if we ever have like an actual reason to, he is down to do podcast interviews. So maybe around the time that episode is coming out, I would love for you to do that interview, because I don't know a lot about his old school matches, and it would be much better for someone who knows stuff to do that. So don't want to get any hopes up, but that would be awesome.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I think Dark Side of the Ring I love the show. Now, Jeff, you haven't watched the show, right?
The Dark Side of the Ring stuff? No, I don't really. I've never watched any of those.
Oh, I would love to do like a watch along series with you. Maybe not even like watch along, but maybe like do like discussion videos, like where we both watch an episode and like talk about it. There is some really good stuff. They've gone a lot of at this point they've gone 3 seasons, and I feel like they've covered most of like the biggest stories that they'll ever cover, which is why I think this season might come off as a little on the underwhelming side. But I mean, like dude, there is some crazy ass episodes. Like the Clash in Korea, that's a fucking wild episode. Plane Ride from Hell's crazy. Obviously, you have like the Montreal Screwjob they cover is great. They do the Eddie Benoit, the Eddie Guerrero Benoit deaths. They do that.
I think I was telling you when these were airing a while back, I was telling you I usually don't like watching them because the whole don't meet your heroes thing. Like, I hate when I grew up loving certain guys and then seeing that they're douchebags. You know what I mean? So I just try to stay away from all that behind the scenes stuff. So, but that'd actually be a good idea. I like to do some of that watch along type thing, maybe.
Maybe we'll vet through the episodes and see what you'd be willing to watch. I think some of them. It's an excellently made show.
Is there a Snuka one?
The Snuka episode. Ed is
I would absolutely watch the Snuka one, 100%.
Bro, Vince McMahon covered up a murder, and people praise him. I'm sorry.
Allegedly.
This is fucking wild. Just the wildest stuff. The steroid trial was crazy. When you watch the steroid trial episode and you find out that the only reason Vince McMahon, like, I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a brain dead reason why Vince didn't get thrown in jail for 20 years. And it's just the most absurd legal bullshit thing. Like,
wow. All right, I actually like that idea. Maybe we'll do that. See how the chat likes it. What do you guys think of doing that and doing some watch-alongs with us? All right, so I loved this Adam Cole and Chris Jericho segment, this whole thing. Britt getting absolutely beat down in her hometown of Pittsburgh after getting the win. I thought this was great all around. Yeah. This was my segment of the night.
So, I mean, for me, I went into this, and at the beginning, I was really not super feeling the segment. I wasn't like super against it, but I was like, I don't know, man, this isn't that great. I expect better from Jericho and Cole. Cole wasn't that bad. Jericho wasn't that bad either. I don't know. I wasn't really blown away by the segment. But then when they turn it around and they have the Outcasts come out, which it just makes so much sense that the Outcasts and the JS would get along because they have very similar mentality and characteristics and similarities.
Why wouldn't they appreciate Jericho? They're from they're from the Fed, you know.
And I applaud again, like we critique the Outcasts and you know the female storylines going on right now for not moving along much, which I'm okay with long-term storytelling, but you still got to do something week in and week out.
Yes.
And for this, like this was awesome. This was so good, so well done, totally worth like it. Like this is story progression. And I loved it. I thought it was great having Cole chained up there, and I thought Jericho was gonna cane Britt. I think it would have been more powerful if both Jericho and Saraya did it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think Jericho, he should have at least given her one whack, at least one.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have had Jericho do something like that to really drive it home. But at the end of the day, this was a phenomenal segment that started for me kind of in like the it was fine territory and ended at like, holy shit, this was really good. This was awesome.
I agree. Yep.
Britt did great. You know, Adam Cole did great. Nice touch for Britt to be calling out for Austin, not Adam. That was
I'll tell
great.
you what, it was definitely a shock for me when Cole was getting beat down. And I was like, give me Kyle O'Reilly. Give me Kyle O'Reilly. And then Britt Baker showed up. I was like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah, I was like, what are they going to do here? And then the Outcast. I was like, oh, shit. Okay.
Yep.
I was very happy. And it makes sense in the storyline because if you remember, Jeff, last week we were talking about how these women, the babyface women on this side of the storyline, are just being geeks at this point, and they're just like, why are they not running out to help with, you know, why aren't they ready to assist the women in the ring? Well, this time there's a reason for why, because the women didn't know Britt was going to be there at that point. So it makes sense for nobody to come to Britt's aid here because it happened in a random spot that nobody was expecting. Loved it. So good.
Absolutely loved it.
Cinema.
All right, next up we had the Hardy Party. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. I think Hook was there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't say much, so I almost forgot about him there, but Hook was there. And basically Matt says on Rampage, Jeff Hardy will speak for the first time since he's been back to AEW. So, you know, he's actually going to come out to the ring and speak to the people. I am very interested to see what he says. I would imagine we're going to get some sort of an apology, you know what I mean? But maybe not, you know, we'll see what we get from that, you know. How'd you feel about that?
Sorry, I was looking at something on Twitter. What are we talking about? Jeff addressing.
We're talking about Jeff Hardy speaking for the first time on Rampage.
Yeah. I wonder. Well, number one, I'm very excited for the firm deletion. Can't wait. Super stoked for that. Rome, Jeffrey, Edie, check out TK's latest tweet. The photo, I'm crying. Is it the one where he's shaking Commander's hand? Yeah, I was looking. That's actually what I was looking at when Jeff was talking.
Trying to find it. I don't see it yet.
It's a picture of, I don't know if it's what Ed's or what Kook's talking about, but it's basically Tony shaking Commander's hand, and like Commander's like chest is like torn open, and Tony's like, hey. I don't know if that's the one he's talking about or not, but I was just looking at that tweet. Anyways, I'm curious to see if they go a certain route here. I don't know if they will or not, but Jeff saying he's going to address the AEW fans, like, I don't know. Do you think they're gonna like do like a Jeff, like, hey, I fucked up, but I'm
That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if he's gonna do some sort of an apology to the fans, or if it's just gonna be like, hey, you know, I've turned my life around and here we go, chapter 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, I'd be okay with him doing that. I think it would be a good idea for him to say like, hey, look, like you guys know where I've been. I made some mistakes, but I'm here now and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling healthy, and I want to stay true. And we'll see. I mean, I hope so. Hey man, like my thing is whatever helps him actually do it, you know what I mean? Like if you have to go out there and hold yourself accountable to the fans on record, then do it, man. Whatever it takes. Absolutely.
All right, next up we had a trios match, the JAS versus the Acclaimed with Daddy Ass. It was Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Ange and Jake Hager. Max Caster's rap here on the way to the ring. This might have been one of my favorite raps of all time. Talked about stomping on his chest like Draymond. I absolutely loved that. You know, listen, I'm a Draymond hater. I hate the Warriors, but that dude grabbing Draymond's leg, he's like a 250 something pound dude. You don't just change the direction of where you're trying to step when someone's got a hold of your leg. He's lucky that he didn't step on him harder and break some ribs. That's all I can say. I can't believe he's suspended. That shit's soft. But this rap was one of my favorite Max Caster raps in a while. And then we had a freaking awesome match, man. This match kicked ass. The Spanish, or I'm sorry, I was going too far here. The spot with Cool Hand Ange with his comb and Daddy Ass snapping his comb, that was freaking awesome. I like totally popped at that because I have one of those combs, the switchblade comb. I was like, no, don't break it, because they're hard to find. They're very hard to find.
Right.
What'd you think of this match? I thought this match was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really fun match. You know, I actually, so this went in that dreaded quarters before the main event slot, and I think that this was a really nice thing to put there. I think that having the fun segment or the fun part of the show,
yes,
was a fun match, and I think having the fun thing really works in that slot. You know what I mean?
100% agree. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I would keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would start, instead of just shoving a women's match in that dreaded slot, I actually completely agree. Shove our, I don't want to say shove, but put the Acclaim there. They absolutely filled this slot perfectly here tonight. This was a great match. The Acclaim pick up the win via the mic drop after, Daddy Ass snapped his comb in half there. I wonder if we're going to get any discourse between Jake Hager with Cool Hand Ange punching him with the comb. Cool Hand Ange accidentally punched Jake Hager off the edge of the ring with the comb. That's when Daddy Ass came in and broke it into pieces. He took the mic drop and the Acclaimed win with the 1, 2, 3. I thought this was fantastic. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. The AEW stands for Acclaimed every Wednesday. So, Where are your Acclaim shirts at, by the way, man? Come on.
What's up?
I said, where are all your Acclaim shirts at, by the way? I haven't seen you with one in a while.
Oh, so I have a lot of T-shirts, not just wrestling, but T-shirts in general. I cycle through my shirts because I have so many that I don't like to I haven't worn this shirt in forever, so I actually cycle through my shirts.
I got you.
Like when I do my laundry, I actually, totally silly thing, but obviously they're all hanging up. I hang my T-shirts, and so basically once I clean them, hang them up on the back, and I grab from the front. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, I won't just grab the first shirt every time. I'll skim through, and pick whatever I'm feeling. But you know what I mean? It kind of gives me make sure I have variety and make sure I'm wearing all these fucking shirts that I have because I have a lot of T-shirts. I have a lot.
I used to went through some spring cleaning this year here, and I threw away so much stuff that I don't wear anymore, man. I was like, damn, I didn't realize how much I had that I don't wear. So next up, we had Sammy Guevara versus Jungle Jack Perry in the first match of our, what are we calling this? The Pillars qualifying tournament, or? Yeah. So now this match, I didn't really, for whatever reason, my brain didn't put it together that Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy were about to main event Dynamite. And they were about to give us an absolutely amazing match. It didn't click to me until about 30 seconds in, and I just saw Jungle Boy go instantly for a tope, Guevara instantly go for his flip over the ropes, and I was just like, oh shit, we're about to get a freaking absolute banger, aren't we? And that's exactly what happened here, man. These dudes tore the freaking house down, and like you said, I was flip-flopping here on Sammy Guevara. He absolutely killed it here tonight, and he forced the crowd to start cheering him at one point.
Yep.
He's actually pulling it off. You know what I mean?
again, this is the Sammy episode.
Yeah.
You know, the pillars put him over.
Yep.
MJF put him over. He, you know, did great work on the mic, and then he went out there and he had a great match in the ring. And obviously, you could look at the ending of the match and you could make comments about that, but and I understand why people might not like the ending of the match, but it's an ending that they almost never do. Which again, like, it's
I said the
okay to
same
do
thing.
countouts and DQs. The question is, how often are you doing those finishes? I don't remember the last countout match like ending in an AEW match. I'm sure there has been one or two, but I don't remember the last time.
No,
I think
I
it was
completely agree. When I saw that, I was like, wow, they never do that. I loved
I
it.
think it was when Sean Dean beat MJF, and that was when MJF and CM Punk were feuding last year.
Yep. And
So
you know, we didn't really get to it yet, but for you guys out there, what happened here is Jungle Boy climbed up on top ropes and he got pushed off. And I'm pretty sure this was intentional. He didn't go through the timekeeper's table. He smashed his face
Yep.
on the corner of the table.
what
And
a
the way he
spot.
sold it, it looked perfect. So I don't think he was intended to go through the table. I think this was what was supposed to happen. He kind of like smashed his face on the table. And when he got up, MJF shows up out of nowhere with the Dynamite Diamond and just absolutely obliterates him with it. I mean, it looked so good. And Sammy Guevara yells at the ref, count him. And the ref counts to 10, and Sammy Guevara picks up the win here via a countout. And like you said, they never do this. And my actual reaction, like I literally looked at my wife and I was like, wow, they never do a countout to finish the show. I was like, I like this. Okay. MJF gets in the ring and celebrates with Sammy Guevara as if he won the match himself. You know what? I think we're gonna have Sammy Guevara like really put up a good fight against MJF, like because it looks like MJF's kind of like trying to make Sammy be the one, but he's gonna regret it, you know.
So thing, right? I really thought that the four-way dance is going to be the play for the pay-per-view, and it still probably is. However, I will say that there is a legitimately good argument to have it just be Sammy versus MJF.
Yeah.
Like, again, Sammy is viewed as like this lower pillar. I think at this point you could focus on Sammy. Focus on Sammy. Give Sammy the opportunity. You know, have Sammy be the one the main event the pay per view. Give him that opportunity. Give him that spot. I think he deserves it, and he definitely should get it. And I think that it will be a great like thing leading up to it, where you could have Sammy. So Sammy beats Darby next week, probably with more bullshit. That's just what it is. And then you have Sammy and MJF set for the pay-per-view. So I want to look at my calendar real quick and see what we got going on here. So next week is the 26th of April. And then so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Dynamites between, you know, then and Double or Nothing. So I mean, I don't know. I think with 4 weeks you could do like where it's like constantly MJF's like, so you're gonna take the pin, right? You're gonna lay down at Double or Nothing, right? And Sammy's like, sure, Max, yeah. It'd be a really cool moment for AEW to show that, like, hey, like in a symbolic way, we're not going to fall to the mistakes that WCW made. Where it's like WCW, they did the finger poke of doom, and he took the pin. Like you could have it be a symbolic thing where it's like where MJF finger pokes him, and like Sammy lays down, but then Sammy kicks out at 2 3/4. And be
That's a good one. I like that.
And I'm not saying I'd not do the pillar match, but maybe you save it. Maybe you do it. Crazy idea. Maybe you do it on free TV.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the same thing because Ed just made a good point. Like Sammy versus MJF's not really a main event for a pay-per-view yet. So what if MJF faces each of the pillars one by one on actual regular TV? But each of the pillars interferes in each other's matches. And that's what causes our four-way here.
Well, the problem is we already have a tournament set up. So how are we? I mean, I guess Tony Khan will step in and be like, hey, Max, you cheated the whole way. But then at that point, you're kind of making Sammy. Okay, so I mean, maybe you could have it because you don't want Sammy to look like a geek, right? Where it's like,
no, yeah.
Because like you don't want to not answer, was Sammy going to lay down for him? So I guess you could do it in a way where maybe Sammy, the week after he beats Darby, which I do think Sammy will beat Darby on Wednesday. maybe you have Sammy say that's the week where he's like, no, I'm not going to lay down for you, Max. And then Jack and Darby come out and they're like, hey, this is bullshit. Like we respect your game, Sammy, but that's bullshit. Like we won in this match. And then Tony Khan's like, yep, we're doing it, 4-way dance, and like that's what they do. Probably.
So what I'm saying, like, let's say that Sammy winds up winning the whole tournament. So during the Sammy versus MJF match, we would have Jungle Boy come out and distract Sammy, right? So then Jungle Boy finally somehow gets his match, and then during his match, you know, Darby comes out and interrupts. You know what I'm saying? So that they all kind of have like a, you know, that's what I'm thinking. But I think they've already said the winner of the tournament's getting a match at Double or Nothing, right? Isn't that what MJF said?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that's why it's not going to make sense to do it that way. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe Tony will do something about like, because the whole finger poke of doom thing, we're gonna add everybody to the match, so it's not possible. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, so what I would say is the reason that they're okay. So devil's advocate for why they're not just going to do the wins, the championship contender matches till you get to the wins. Here's the thing, because eventually these guys would all have to face each other if things made sense. So if you're talking about establishing a number one contender and all three of these guys are picking up the same amount of wins, eventually, in the sense of the kayfabe, Tony would have to book these guys to face each other, right? And so obviously, if these guys face each other, then having a four-way makes no sense. So Tony, this is just me assuming, Tony Khan probably was like, well, we got to do something different that we can kind of like finagle our way into a four-way dance. So I'm good. I'm good with it. I think it makes sense.
Oh, there's a good one. Sammy versus Darby just ends in a DQ, and then it's gonna have to be. Huh. Okay. They got all kinds of ways they could go with this. This is gonna be good. I like this.
It's gonna be great. It's fun. But no, at the end of the day, I really thought this was a great match. I think that for the intents and purposes of the story, the ending was great. I understand why some people might not like it. It's not something they do very often, though, so I'm cool with it. And I loved the image of MJF lifting Sammy on his shoulders.
It was great.
And carrying him around. It was so good.
And I can't help but say, I think the people that were upset with this are people that watch the E, because it happens I can't say that exact thing happens all the time over there, but it definitely happens much more often. You know, especially we know AEW doesn't do stuff like that very often. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it doesn't bother you and I.
No.
But I thought this was a great episode of Dynamite here tonight. You know, can't wait to see a lot of these stories here moving forward, especially this 4 pillars thing. I'm super into this. I'm really interested in seeing FTR and Jeff Jarrett with Jay Lethal. That's definitely something I want to see where that's going. Like you said, if that guitar comes into play against FTR, that's going to be a nice little tag match right there. What do we got going on for Rampage? What have they announced for us?
All right. Well, this Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday, 10 p.m. El Hijo del Vikingo will defend his AAA Mega Championship against Jurlistico. Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and FTR will take on the Varsity Athletes and Slim J. We will hear from the Hardys, Hook, and Isaiah Cassidy. Kiera Hogan will be taking on Julia Hart. And we will hear from Jade Cargill. Also for Rampage, the main event, Jon Moxley versus Christopher Daniels. Next week on Dynamite, 2 matches announced so far. Jade Cargill will be facing Taya Valkyrie for the TBS Championship, and Sammy Guevara will take on Darby Allin in the 4 Pillars tournament.
Wow, Jade versus Taya. Are we finally going to get ourselves a new TBS champion?
I really hope not. I don't think Taya should be the one.
You don't think Taya should be the one? You're not in on Taya?
It's not that I don't like Taya. I think whoever does it at this point, it needs to be like, you either have to be making someone or it has to be someone gigantically important. And I like Taya a lot. She's great, but I would not say that Taya is either of those two things. She's not someone who needs to be made at this point. You know, she's not a young up and coming talent that needs to be put over to be made, and she's also not a megastar. You know, she's a she's an awesome vet. You know what I mean? Like, she's great. She kills it. But I don't know if that's the spot.
Huh. Yeah, I think Taya's got the reputation and all of that stuff right now. She's the AAA women's champion, stuff like that. She's got a good reputation around the world, but I do see where you're coming from there. Sabak says, did we notice the hard cam was on the wrong side tonight? You know what? I think at one point I was kind of like, are they on the other side? But I just forgot all about it. I didn't notice it too much, no.
So like once or twice, but yeah, I also didn't really think about it. It was a little weird.
Yeah. And Ed says no real build or story around it. Are you talking about the Jade versus Taya? They've been building this for weeks, man. What are you talking about?
I also, yeah, they have been building this.
Yeah,
So
Taya's been using the Jaded, which is called, I think she calls it the Road to Valhalla. Like, yeah, it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, it's talking about there is a program, but I still don't think we should end it.
No, I don't. I agree. I don't think that she should end this here. I guess since we've been waiting for this long, we got to finish it out. We're waiting for Statlander to come back. It really feels like that's what's going on here.
Jeff, I guess you could argue that that Stat needs to finish the story. What a fucking
that's funny.
I love
Let's
it.
hope they actually freaking finish it then.
Well, I mean, everyone's getting their stories finished except for Cody. Fuck Cody. That man getting everything he deserves because he'll win the title. Oh, he'll win the WWE Championship someday, no doubt about it. But at that point, like I like, look, man, I've seen the people on Twitter who do watch Raw. They're saying, streets are saying Cody's lost his heat. I don't know. He was on fire. He's not anymore. So I don't know.
I gotta tell you, that segment with Brock where Cody just came out yelling and screaming, "Get Brock Lesnar out here!" And Brock comes out wearing the Undertaker's gear, like armor he found in a dungeon. Like, that segment was horrible. How are you gonna have the babyface beat the ever-living snot out of a bunch of security guards? I didn't understand anything there. And then Brock just stands there and laughs at Cody and then walks away. I was so confused. I know you didn't watch, so you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
I knew about it. No, it was great. I loved it. Enjoying myself tremendously.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here tonight. You got anything else you wanted to talk about here real quick? You got any CM Punk updates?
I mean, he's coming back. But
what's the latest on the Saturday show? What's our latest of the rumors for Saturday?
So the rumors for the Saturday show are that, obviously CM Punk's coming back, and it's going to be kind of a brand split where, like, people that want to work with CM Punk or are okay with working with CM Punk will be on the Saturday show, whereas Dynamite will continue to be an elite-centric show. Again, this just kind of reeks of work to me for a few reasons. I mean, like, number one, it doesn't sound like a super great idea. You're also going to run into two issues that come to mind. Number one, okay, so you're going to split up these locker rooms to avoid drama. What happens when you do a pay-per-view? It's going to be the same locker room. Doesn't matter. Number two, when you do a brand split, the correct way, because here's the thing, hot take, it is a possibility to do a brand split correctly. Brand splits aren't always bad. It can be good. That being said, one of the biggest things about brand splits is that you also need a point where you can shake things up a little bit to refreshen the rosters, to keep some feuds fresh. If the whole point of a brand split here is to have people that separated to avoid drama, it's like, well, when exactly are you going to freshen up your rosters? That would be my two things.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, so imagine that on Dynamite, the Elite are always talking shit about CM Punk on Saturday. And they're like, he's not allowed over here. We can say whatever we want, fuck him. And then the day that he shows up, that crowd will lose their minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
he says, you mean like a draft?
Well, yeah, like a draft. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. was I trying to? I wasn't trying to be funny or anything. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, the draft wasn't horrible when it's done right. They've done it once or twice back in the day when it's done.
Yeah, the first few weren't bad. I mean, I would say that the first like 2 or 3 drafts they did when WWE first did the brand split, that was when the brand split was like at its best and it really worked.
And they actually
But, like,
respected it. Yeah.
yeah, well, like, they respected it. Here, like, you do the brand split, your champions is specifically the world champion should be the only thing that moves from show to show. Obviously, in AEW, they're not going to have 2 tag titles or things like that, so that's why I would say all champions should be able to travel from show to show. But I mean, yeah, I think that it's fine if done well. You just got to do it right, and they haven't done it right in 20 years. So WWE hasn't done it right in 20 years. So that's that. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Ed that I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a pretty bad idea that's not super well thought out, which is why I think, I mean, again, I feel very confident and very strong that it's a work. I think everybody is working right now. I think FTR is working. I think Jericho is working. I think Punk's working. I think I think the Elite are working. I think Hangman's working. I think MJF's working. I think everybody's fucking working right now.
You also got to remember we're going off of rumors right now. We're not going off of like an actual plan on paper from Warner Media and AEW Tony Khan. You know what I mean? We're going off of people on Twitter being like, this is probably what's happening, you know?
Well, no, I mean the reports are coming from sources that are usually pretty decent, and I'm not saying that this isn't going to be the thing that they do initially. I don't want it to be like they do this show where they do this CM Punk group going on Saturday, and people are like, "Oh, Rome, you're wrong." No, I don't. I think that's the plan. Again, I think the plan is to bring it back and let the tension build. Where like I don't even. Here's the thing: you're saying that they should mention it. I don't think they need to mention it. Again, AEW fans are smart. Like, we know what's going on. Like, is there a casual fan? I don't know how much of a casual fan there is, but sure, the casual fan may not follow it completely or may not get it completely, but at the end of the day, the hardcore audience that Tony Khan has consistently respected throughout the years and continued to do right by, like, we know when CM Punk shows up on that Saturday show that there's some beef going on there. Like, we're not dumb. We know.
See, I do think they need to mention it, though. I think the Elite need to talk shit on Punk and build that, yeah.
No, that's part of the work. They want fans. Here's the thing. What is the number one thing that wrestling has suffered from in recent years? The fact that because of the internet and the lack of blurring the lines of reality, like, even we are guilty of it where, like, oh, man, there's not a lot of emotion in things like there used to be. Like, we know everything's a work now. And that's why you see so many people doing worked shoots. That's why you see Drew and Becky Lynch changing their profile pictures, making it seem like they're leaving the Fed. Are they? Maybe they are. I don't know, but they're probably not. Some of them, at least. You know, Bayley, like all these wrestlers, you know, they're working us. They're trying to work, and they're trying to blur the lines here. And so, for me, like, you don't like the whole point of them doing this. Again, I do think Dax started a podcast as part of it. I really do. Like, you mean to tell me one day after like 2 months, he was like, yeah, man, that's it. It's done. We're getting out. Top guys out. You know what I mean? Like, no, like it doesn't make sense. I think that I'm not even talking BTE though. Like the AEW fan base that goes beyond 10 to 20% know about what's going on with CM Punk. Like, there's no way that only 10 to 20% know. I would say more like 75 to 80. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I definitely feel like AEW's fan base pays attention to like the behind, you know, they pay attention to everything more. The E fans just kind of pay attention to Monday and Friday nights, but you know, Ed's one of those he's one of those analytics guys. I think he probably's got some info to back up what he's saying, you know what I mean? He's always got the numbers, so
I don't think that. I think 10 to 20% is a low ball. Maybe 80% is a high ball. I think 10 to 20 is a low ball.
I do agree with him saying that the BTE view count is your hardcore audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the that's the hardcore of the hardcore, but at the same time, that doesn't, I don't know. I think that number is higher than that. That's just my opinion.
It could be.
Could I be wrong? Sure. That's just my opinion. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think that they don't need to address it. I think that they'll keep the ambiguity around it where, like, I don't know. I think CM Punk should continue to gaslight. I think that's going to be the path that they take. I think that you could have Punk go in there on Saturday show and like say like, "Hey, I wanted to apologize. I wanted to make everything work, but here we are." And I don't think he has to openly say that he is banned from Dynamite. I don't think he needs to do that. Maybe we are actually agreeing because I am saying that like Punk should gaslight and drop in a way like, hey, you guys know what's going on. I'm over
Yeah.
here. I'm stuck over here. I think they should do something like that, but I don't think they should be like flat out like, folks, we're here to tell you that CM Punk is banned from Dynamite. Like, no. Don't
No,
do
no, no,
that.
no. I'm just saying, like, Punk should take shots at the Elite, like, oh, those guys over there, blah blah blah, and the Elite should do the same thing, like, oh, that douchebag over there,
I think
just little shots.
I think the Elite should continue to not acknowledge it.
Well, that could be a thing. Like, once I thought about it, it would be better for Punk to keep on being the asshole and taking little shots at them and them not saying anything. And then one day they show up to the Saturday show. Oh my God. That would be insane.
Ed, sure, but not everybody goes on the sheets. They just go on Twitter and read what other people retweet about the sheets. That, like, again, like, I understand where you're trying to find analytics, and I'm sure that you have numbers that can back up your argument. But I'm just saying, I think that there's more. I think that that number is bigger than you're saying, than you're anticipating. But at the end of the day, I don't think you need to touch on it. Don't think you do. I think you can let Punk drop a few little things, but like let the tension build so when somebody shows up on somebody's show, you'll be like, oh fuck, here we go.
View counts of tweets.
Bro, those things are broken. I don't believe
Yeah.
there's counts of tweets.
All right. I think that's gonna be enough for me on this one here tonight. You want to go ahead and close us out, sir?
Oh yeah, I was gonna show the bracket, but I guess you're still gonna make.
Oh no, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Let's do that here real quick. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, you can put up on the screen. So folks, as you know, the King's Court Invitational. Tin hat time. Ed's being ridiculous. I'm not saying ignore numbers. I'm just saying that I think there's a little bit more to look at. It's shades, Ed. It's shades.
Why is that so big?
Anyways, so for those that are unaware, last week I announced the King's Court Invitational. It is a tournament that will lead to the finals against myself at All Out, where I will be defending the Broken Predictions Championship. So Jeff is the bracket on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a 8-person tournament. And as you can see, the first round will take place at Double or Nothing, with the 4 matches being held there. The winners will go on to the next round, and it will be held at Forbidden Door, with the, I guess you could consider it the semifinals. Even though it's the finals of the bracket, the final is the title match. The semifinals will be held at All In, with the final match, and the winner of the match at All In will go on to face me, as I said, at All Out. Now, again, this is an invitational tournament. You cannot enter this tournament. You must be invited into the tournament. Invites will be going out in the coming weeks leading up to Double or Nothing.
Rome working less than MJF, waiting for All Out.
Ed can be as mad as he wants. At the end of the day, the booking under me has been much more exciting than anything Jeff had ever put together. Jeff's booking was, all right, it's going to be me and Rome. All right, it's going to be me and Rome again. All right, I've lost twice, but it's going to be me and Rome a third time. Like that
What
was
do
Jeff.
you-
I'm throwing tournaments together. I'm organizing fucking tournaments. And you're going to
Listen.
give me a hard time? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Rome's just upset that the last match I booked led to him getting hit in the back of the head with the championship belt, and left him laying on the floor.
With the title, like, what are you, like, you dummy? You dummy? You fucking we would have lost the title if it wasn't for me. I'm the one that brought everything back together into the fold.
That's not how 50-50 booking works, Jeffrey. What'd I do?
This is a shoot title. I have legitimately beaten Jeffrey at every single possible matchup.
Yeah.
It's
One of these days.
It's just the facts.
But
Anyways, yeah. So that's the bracket for the tournament. Invites will be given. And at that point, look, man. All I'm gonna say is once the people are invited to the tournament, once the entrants are selected, that those entrants can do whatever they want. They can cut promos on the other entrances. I don't really care. I'm okay with it. I think it's going to lead to good competition, to a great show. Once all the entrants have been announced, I will generate the brackets. I will figure it out. I think I'll just do a random bracket. I don't think I want to. I don't know, Jeff. Do you want me to book match? Do you think I should book matches for this bracket, or should I just go like a random?
you know what? I was gonna say we should place some seeds. Maybe we should do a couple of exhibition matches over the next few weeks and see if we can make some seeds, some numbers.
Perhaps we'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll just book it. Maybe I'll just book it. Figure it out.
Yeah. But till you figure it out, want to go ahead and close us out here, sir?
Absolutely. Well, this has been episode 136 of the Broken Tables podcast. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button on your way out. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us in the chat. Thank you to Sabak. Haven't seen Sabak in a while. Keep coming back, man. We missed you. Thank you to Ed. Thank you to Coog. Thank you to Coach, who was here earlier. The Day Trading Doge is coming in right at the end. Running in.
Up, Doge.
Woof, indeed. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us again. Follow us on our social medias in the link below. For those of you who are more regulars here, who get involved, keep an eye out for the invites because they're coming. I have a few, I'm going to figure out the entrance for the tournament, for the King's Court Invitational. And if you're watching and you're like, oh man, how do I get into the, be a part of this Broken Predictions League and the rankings and all that stuff? Well, hang out with us in chat. Join the Discord. Stay a while.
That's all we ask.
Get comfortable. Hang out with us. We want to talk. We want to chat. We want to hang out. So make sure you're doing all of that as well. Rampage show this weekend. I'm working because I'm fucking miserable. I guess Jeff will be. I don't know.
I'll be here doing the watch along on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Join me here. Watch Rampage with me. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm dying inside. Just know that's happening.
Rome will be dying inside working
At the exact same time while you're doing that. But anyways, we will see you guys next time.
Right on. And until Saturday night, top guys out.